This is the ultimate Overland build, built by the Overland Expo Foundation to showcase the latest and greatest in overlanding equipment. It cost $170,000 to build, and that's without labor. Today on Eat Sleep Drive, we're going to be taking it on a journey through the southern portion of Colorado to see what it's capable of. Welcome everyone to a really special episode of Eat Sleep Drive, where we have this very expensive overlanding rig and we're heading to Ouray, Colorado. We're coming from Denver, which was over there, and you can see the weather not so great over there, but fortunately where we're going is nice and sunny. The whole point of this trip is to raise awareness for this vehicle, which is going to be auctioned off for a good cause. I'll talk more a little bit about that later, but we're going to be doing some off-roading, we're going to be doing some camping, we're going to be doing some hiking, and just overall showing you what it's like to overland in a very expensive rig in Colorado. The journey from Denver to Ouray takes about 5.5 hours on a route that is fortunately south of I-70. If you've ever driven through Colorado, you'll know I-70 can be a bit of a mess, so we were happy to avoid it. Now, I-70 does offer great views winding through the Rockies, but the other benefit of the southern route is the unique landscape, which is pretty beautiful in its own right. We arrived in Ridgway, Colorado, just north of Ouray, at a camp spot with a few friends. While the drive offered great views, 6 hours in the car felt like a long day, so we enjoyed a beautiful sunset and a well-attended-to campfire before calling it for the night. Remember, kids, only you can prevent wildfires.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely one of those people that like play with me.
All right, time to give you a tour of the ultimate build. We will get to this truck because of course that's the basis, but I really want to talk about the build out in the back because of course you can't help but notice the pop-up camper on the top here. This is Overland Explorer Vehicles is the brand, and they have a bunch of different models of these. This specifically is the backcountry model. And of course it pops up as you can see, and we'll show you how that works sort of inside. But of course when you're driving, it comes down, but you can stand up in there once it's popped up. On the side here, we have an awning here as well to be able to shade you, which we should really have deployed today because it is crazy hot. And then also there's a spot here for a ladder, which I'll show you now on the back. Back here, we have some more storage, some of these boxes that are tacked on, they lock as well. So of course some outside storage. We have some of our leveling blocks back here right now. And then this is also where we keep things like our camping chair that we've been able to use. This is that ladder that I was talking about. It folds up and then goes on the side, which is really nice, but it makes it a little bit easier to get in and out, and you'll see what that's like here in a minute as well. But really a lot of the doodads, which everyone loves from a overlanding perspective, are on this side. So if I can bring you to this side, I'll show you some of the features that we have over here. Starting first with the shower. I think this is one of my most favorite parts of this build. I'm gonna bring out the hose that we have here. So this is really neat. And in fact, this has a water heater. So pop this little top here, put this hose in, and then there's a water pump in there, of course. You could turn this and there is a different degree of how hot you want this to be. And with the hot water heater, you actually get water for your shower out here. So this shower kind of folds out so you can have privacy, and then you have the water, of course, with hot, because we can't be slumming it without hot water in a very expensive overlanding rig. Some of the other stuff that we have here is a propane tank for, of course, your heat and hot water. There's lights on the side here that have switches inside. There's a shore power hookup. Yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles. But let's hop inside, and then I'll show you what the actual build out looks like inside. Really, the first thing that you'll notice, of course, is the range here. We have a full sink, and I already talked about the water pump. There's a 20-gallon tank in here, which is actually under the seat over here, and I'll show you a little bit of storage there, and it's filled outside, but hot and cold, as I already mentioned. So that's nice, and it stows away, which, of course, this is an overland rig. You want this stuff to like stow away and not be teetering about. Gas range and also induction cooktop. This has a battery bank that is charged by solar, that is also charged by the vehicle driving just in general from the alternator. Let's show you these switches here. So this is some fun bits for being able to just like flick switches. There's a bunch of exterior lights you can see here, interior light as well. All this stuff is really nicely laid out, honestly. I'll show you the behind the scenes here. So this is where the heater is in terms of the air heater. You got your hot water tank back there. Really nicely done in terms of wiring. And then we also have, this is where you control the hot water heater and the air heater from here as well. Bit of storage, all over the place. There's some storage here that we have a bunch of our stuff for dish soap and everything like that. There's some storage down here where we have our sleeping bags, and then over here is where we have the battery bank. So what's really nice about this is like we haven't gone below, I would say, 75% battery, and we've been cooking every morning. Granted, we've been like driving in between, but plenty of battery power in here. You also have the inverter over here. As you can see, the outlet on this side where you're able to charge all your stuff. And then I'll switch with you here. Nice table and seating arrangement over here if you want to eat inside. This camper has 4 different windows, so it's nice and airy. And as you can see, we also have there's 2 fans. We have one of the fans going, so you get some nice circulation in here. And then you can kind of see those straps on the end. That's ultimately what you push up to get this camper up from the lowered position. And this bed actually has some storage under it, which is really cool for blankets and stuff like that. It's a really neat build. There's a lot going on here, as I said. That's one of the fun parts about overlanding, right? Is to be able to fidget with all your little tools and equipment. So it's a very well thought out build, and yeah, we've really enjoyed the time in it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. Let's go for a little off-roading excursion and put this thing to the test off-road. After a great breakfast to prepare us for a big day, we packed up and headed south. Our goal for today was to hike up to the Blue Lakes Trail near Mount Sneffels, which is accessible only by a 4x4 trail. But first, we passed through Ure. Known as the Switzerland of America, it's a unique mountain town surrounded by high peaks. Not only is it beautiful, but it's also a great jump-off point for outdoor activities in the San Juans.
Our friends that were with us along for the journey were just in vehicles with highway tires, and the road claimed to get much worse towards the top. So we picked a spot with a pullout and ditched the other cars, piling into the ultimate build. This proved to be a great move considering sections up top required high clearance, something the lifted Sierra had absolutely no problems with. Driving in an air-conditioned vehicle up a road doesn't take much effort, but the trail once we got out did. Regardless, this Blue Lakes trail is well worth the journey because the views at the end can't be found in many places. With our end goal achieved, it was time to drive home, but not without first filling you in on the Sierra this platform is built on, and summing up the experience in it.
So the truck that this whole setup is based on is of course the most important part, right? Because everything is built off of that. This is a 3/4 ton Sierra 2500. It is the AT4X AEV package. So when you see these metal bumpers, you get the snorkel, that's all the AEV stuff. It also gets like a lifted suspension. That's all from factory, really. And what the company's done to enhance this is just kind of build off of the current suspension, because suspension tuning is a art, and you know, these manufacturers that have all these resources to put into it, you don't want to just throw that away. So they've put air helper springs in the rear that pump this up to deal with a little more of that weight. Of course, this camper on the back is not light. So you know, you're starting with just a nice platform with this 2500. This engine, it's a, you know, of course, turbo diesel V8, has great power, as I'm going to show you here when we get to this passing lane in exactly 1/2 mile. But I really like this truck. I just had that Ram 2500, and while, you know, everyone's so sunk in with their Ford, Chevy, Ram, right? Like everyone has their preferences, but what I will say is, of course, Ram has the Cummins and everyone loves that, but this with the independent front suspension rides excellent. And I imagine a lot of this is, once again, to the AT4X and the slightly modified suspension, but this thing is so plush going down the road. And I'm gonna show you some passing power here. I mean, we're at 9,000 feet. This thing pulls like a freight train. We're going uphill, probably doesn't show it that much in the video, but great passing power even with this massive wind sail of a camper on the back. So I mean, this is a great setup. I really love these Sierras. The interior works great, and I, of course, would be remiss to not mention the massaging seats. Like, you're in your expensive overlanding vehicle, might as well have massaging seats. So, go check out this video, or go check out the auction for this. I believe it's in October. I will put a link to the build. I've done my best to cover like the major features, but there's just like so many things that they've added onto this build. So go check it out on the Overland website, where you can see all the little details that are going to go into it. But excellent build, and you know, if you want to go anywhere in comfort, this is kind of it. So go check out the auction, and if you got a bunch of money, go bid on it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you on the next one. Peace.